Good afternoon. I am Nancy Shaw.
Good afternoon.
You notice I brought cards to you from Prince. Prince was born at the Oregon Zoo in '87. His mother is a half-sister to Packy. He was moved to Ringling Brother Circus when he was 1.5. And now with our knowledge, we know what that means. And after a lifetime of living that life, he is retired at Galt Performing Animal Welfare Sanctuary. So I wrote to you and said, send Uncle Packy down. He's old, he's sick, he deserves to retire. He will recognize Prince, and there's no reason why he shouldn't get to retire in sunny California. My friends went to the zoo the other day to look at the wonderful elephant lands. It's called North Meadow, but there's not a single blade of grass for the elephants. And what they did notice, that sweet Chandra that I've talked about before that is ostracized because she's from Borneo, she lifts one leg at a time and holds it up. So that means that she has foot rot. Let her go to Tennessee. The only one that interacts with her may be Samudra, and now he's separated. But Lily has relations with her. Let her go. Good grief. She's just tormented up there. It's nothing more than a prison. Every time I come here and I ask you that, please, let them go.
Thank you. Annette?
For the record, my name is Annette Hadaway, Portland, Oregon. I am a native Oregonian who grew up in Milwaukee, living mostly on Southeast Oatfield Road. I was born in 1960. I am over half a century old, and I grew up going to a place my family and friends knew by the name of the Portland Zoo, which was also called the Washington Park Zoo and is now called the Oregon Zoo. I grew up going to the zoo by way of school field trips and later in life, company picnics. My company at the time paid extra to be set up in front of the elephant enclosure. As an adult, I have attended zoo concerts. Packy, the elephant who has lived all his life at the Oregon Zoo, is 53 years old, 2 years younger than I am. My testimony today is to bring to your attention Packy's right to be retired to Paws Sanctuary in California. After 53 years of service at the Oregon Zoo, Packy deserves the right to live in a warm climate. After 53 years of service at the Oregon Zoo, Packy deserves to have hundreds of acres to roam on. After 53 years of service at the Oregon Zoo, Packy deserves the quiet and serene life in a natural setting, away from Highway 26, away from the public, and away from Portland. Last year, while researching a trip to Chitwan National Park in Nepal, I came across an article on the abuses of tourism on elephants. I now refer to this time as when I woke up. In just a short time, I learned that elephant spines aren't meant to carry the weight of humans. Elephants need to walk 50 miles a day to stay healthy. Elephants are social animals that need one another's company for a happy, healthy, and that many of the females help raise one another's babies, and that they are called nannies or aunties. Elephants can hear one another's calls from over 2 miles away, and that they are highly sensitive to low-frequency vibrations, which they feel from their feet. I learned that zoos can never meet the physical and social needs of elephants because elephants in zoos have health issues of contracting tuberculosis, and that Packy has contracted tuberculosis. Other issues from being in zoos are foot rot, lesions, heightened aggression, swaying and head bobbing, which shows that they are stressed. So this meant when I was at a zoo concert while walking past the elephant enclosure on my way to the ladies' room, the elephant was not swaying to the beat of the music, but was stressed out and showing stereotypical behavior, which means a cause for concern and is an indication of poor welfare. This fact was particularly disturbing and cruel to me. I felt deceived by my own hometown zoo. Many of my friends thought as I did, that the elephants were enjoying the music, dancing, when in fact they are actually in pain. Council President and members of the council, I believe that allowing to continue zoo concerts when you know about this behavior in itself is not humane. I learned that all these health issues lead to premature death. I love OPB programs, and during this time I happened upon a special about Dame Daphne Sheldrick and the first elephant she ever cared for, which in turn led me to learn about David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. I learned about Lek Chalyar in Thailand and Carol Buckley in the US, women who are helping to change the lives of captive elephants and are changing centuries-old customs in elephant handling. If you don't know about these women, I encourage you to search them out. They are experts with decades of knowledge. I believe there is merit to my words today about Packy deserving to retire to sanctuary. The world is waking up. Public interest is changing. We as people are being educated on the cruelties of elephants kept in captivity.
Ms. Hadaway, if you could wrap that up, please.
I'm sorry, I will. Social media is exploding with information, and we are out connecting with one another, not only in the United States, but all over the world. We as people are starting to come to terms with our past misconceptions about captive elephants while making positive change. I believe these outdated practices and the exploitation of captive elephants will end. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Council President and members of the council, I challenge you to spend just a few hours educating yourselves on what's going outside of Portland, Oregon, like I did. I challenge you to educate and then decide what side of history you will be on. What will your legacy be? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Danny Rukin, and I live in Portland, and I can't believe some of the things you said because I have some of the same things, and I had no idea. So anyway, this is my first time here at this council meeting, and I'm not sure that I'm doing this right. Okay. I'm fairly new to Portland, and I arrived here almost 2 years ago. Prior to moving here, I never thought twice about elephants and zoos. I was compelled to come after learning about the elephants at the Oregon Zoo. I attended a summer zoo concert the summer before last when I just got here, and I just could not believe how close the elephants were and how loud the music was, and that they were being subjected to it. I remember thinking I would not attend another concert due to the cruel nature of the loud music. Last year, my first winter here, I attended Zoo Lights, thinking it would be another fun and festive Portland adventure. It was anything but. It was very disturbing watching the elephants. It was freezing temperatures, and they would not let the elephants inside, apparently in an effort to satisfy the visitors. One of them was banging his head on a door, and another was bobbing his or her head and swaying back and forth. It was horrible. They were just standing there and looking miserable. I was astonished by how much they were suffering, and I haven't been able to get those sad images out of my mind. And here we are again with freezing cold, windy, rainy winter, and they will continue to live in this environment. I overheard a few people there say that night that they were leaving with their families and not returning to the zoo as a result of seeing the elephants like this. I was so profoundly impacted by that experience, I started to do some research into the elephants at the Oregon Zoo, and what I'm finding is abysmal. Just like humans, elephants are not designed to live in captivity, even if they are born in captivity. The overall infant mortality rate for elephants in zoos is a staggering 40%, and it's almost triple the rate in the wild, and the Oregon Zoo is no exception. Wildlife, I'm going to skip that part. Elephants do not thrive in captivity, and being around their mental anguish and their chronic medical problems will never teach us, let alone children, anything positive about wildlife. Why is it that along with the zoos of Omaha, Wichita, and Dallas, that in Portland, of all places, the Oregon Zoo is working on expanding their elephant collection? Meanwhile, the zoos in Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, San Francisco, the Bronx, and Toronto began phasing out their elephant exhibits years ago, and more zoos are in the process of doing so. Other zoos have decided that the financial and ethical tolls of exhibiting the world's largest land mammals was too high. When is Portland going to follow suit? Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I can't believe you said the same thing. So there's a sentiment out there. There's a fast-growing mass movement to abolish elephants in zoos, and with social media now, nothing will stop it. The Oregon Zoo slogan is "Home is where the herd is nothing more than a euphemism for an aggressive breeding program. The zoos continue to spend millions more of taxpayers' money to fund this program, which is abusive to the elephants. I'm going to skip some parts here. The stated goal of the elephant program here is to build, thanks, I'll be brief, is to build and maintain a larger matriarchal herd. But when I started to do my homework, many of the elephants that have been bred at the Oregon Zoo were either shipped to other zoos, sold to circuses, or have died here unnatural deaths and are now suffering zoo-related illnesses such as tuberculosis, foot disease, and arthritis. That doesn't sound like animal welfare or conservation to me. And I'm almost done. And by the way, where is Packy? I have heard and seen so much about this elephant, but where is he? I'm told he hasn't been seen at least over a year, maybe 2. Is he still alive? And if so, why hasn't he been sent to a sanctuary? The Nashville Zoo, as you may know, recently sent their 3 remaining elephants to the Tennessee Elephant Sanctuary, and everybody's happy, the zoo goers, the zoo, and the elephants, and they're getting a lot of positive press as a result. And the last piece is that it's unethical, and all it's doing is bleeding taxpayers' money in an experimental and cruel laboratory experiment on breeding the elephants. I believe you regard the elephant program as an outstanding, and you're proud of it. But that's like white people in the South who treated their slaves better than the more cruel owners being proud of the kind treatment of their Negroes. Like African Americans, the ancestors of these elephants were brought here from Africa and Asia. I know these are from Asia, against their will. And although I believe you're well-intentioned, just like many of the well-meaning but ignorant white slave owners were, I also believe you're misguided and on the wrong side of history. Abolitionism is defined as a movement to end slavery, and a slave is someone who is the property of and wholly subject to another and entirely under the domination of some person. You have an opportunity to get on the right side of history and evolve yourselves beyond what you think you know what is best for elephants. There are plenty of real elephant experts out there. If you genuinely wanted to educate yourselves about real conservation and true well-being for wildlife, you could find them. The goal of the abolitionist movement was the immediate emancipation of all slaves. They were considered radicals. The historian James McPherson defines an abolitionist as one who had agitated for the immediate, unconditional, and total abolition of slavery. Just as there was a moral imperative to end slavery in America, we are all individually responsible for holding these great beasts here against their will for entertainment, education, and breeding purposes. Last part, elephant programs and zoos are dying out, and those who are grasping to stay afloat, it's just a matter of time before they will die out. Why don't you become known for having realized that there's no such thing as a sustainable matriarchal herd of Asian elephants in an enclosure in North America? And I'm going to skip all this too. Now I hear that you're opening a state-of-the-art facility for elephants. That's like building a state-of-the-art prison that's like building a state-of-the-art prison, so what if the facility is improved? The elephants are still imprisoned in captivity. And last part is African elephants belong in Africa, Asian elephants belong in Asia, and the remaining captive elephants in North America belong in real elephant sanctuaries so they can live out the rest of their lives in peace and dignity and free from entertainment, scientific, or any other invasive purposes. If you really cared about the preservation of elephants and elephant conservation, then you'd be putting your money and resources into how you can help keep the elephants more safely in their natural habitat, not working on an aggressive domestic breeding program. I challenge you to do the right thing, admit it was a mistake, close the expanded wasted elephant lands. I'm aware it's opening December 15th. I'm sure it'll happen, but I do encourage you to do the right thing sooner than later and be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. Thank you, and I am sorry I went over.
Okay.